Are you ready? Hello and welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. Today is our full moon journaling. We are at the beginning of a new month. The full moon is on August 1st. Before we get started, maybe you've cleaned your space up, lit a few candles. Create a beautiful, comfortable environment for yourself. This is a reflection on yourself, your progress, your journey, your process as we coincide with the new and full moon. So we sit down twice a month and just reflect. We'll begin with a big deep breath, maybe closing your eyes. Allowing yourself to settle into this moment, to the energy of yourself. And we're just grounding right now. Allowing anything outside of you to fall away. Allowing yourself to be fully present. Noticing and connecting to your breath. Noticing any tension you have in your body. And maybe finding some movement to release it if that's what you feel called. Allowing some loving and beautiful thoughts of yourself to run through your mind. What is something you did well so far today, this month? Something you're proud of. And welcome gratitude for who you are. Gratitude for where you are and everything that led you here. Fully immersing yourself in you. We easily give our attention to everything and everyone else. But right now, it's all about you. Soaking up your own love and affection and attention. Taking a big deep breath. And if your eyes are closed, allowing them to open. And grounding can be as simple as that. A few moments to immerse yourself in your own energy. It doesn't have to be a big shebang, but sometimes we just need to get a little centered, a little more grounded before we move on to our next task. I always start my full moon journaling with my word of the year, which I picked in January, which still resonates with me right now. If yours doesn't, or if you never picked one in January, totally fine. Whatever word works for you right now. My word has been empowered. And that stemmed from no longer wanting to have any point of my process being led by any victim mindset. How can I allow everything that has happened to me, everything that I have welcomed to myself, empower me and not hinder me? This full moon is an invitation to take a look at your life from a wider perspective. Expand beyond your mind to the mind of the entire universe. The ideas and thoughts that hold you back from living your most authentic life. Do they feel as big when you take a step back? This is your invitation to tap into the power of the universal love and acceptance both for yourself and for those around you. The question we're starting with is, incorporating a wider perspective could benefit me by. And if you're new here, how I do these journals, I basically take you through my process. So I also share kind of what I'm writing and going through and thinking about. For me, incorporating a wider perspective could benefit me by creating patience and trust in my process. So by taking a step back and looking at what I'm doing, seeing my actions as building up for the long term rather than wanting that short term immediate gratification of everything. If I step back, look at the bigger picture, I will create more patience for myself and allowing my journey to take the time that it deserves, which we all know the journey takes a long time. Situations that require a wider perspective. So for me, growing this channel, it requires a much wider perspective because sometimes the growth is slow. So to continue my momentum, I have to remember that I'm working for a long term. Self-reflection, I feel like not being so stuck in right here and now and taking a bigger look over who I've been, how I've grown, how I've changed can show me that just because today it feels hard, I feel like that's something too, is taking a wider perspective, especially when things feel difficult or sad or like they're not working out. You can always take a step back and look at other scenarios that are similar that you made it out of, that you found success in, even after maybe struggling for a little while. I feel like life requires a wider perspective, especially to make it through the difficult moments, because with every up, there is a down, and with every down, there is an up. It is just a balance. So taking that step back, that wider perspective, it can give you appreciation when things are good and the patience when things are difficult, to know that the good is coming back. And one situation that you are committed out of these different situations that you can take a wider perspective, something that you want to commit to taking a wider perspective on, to continuously remind yourself mindfully and purposely take a step back on that wider perspective in order to create change. So for me, my focus, and it is going to continue to be this channel and putting out content that feels good for me, and doing so consistently and not letting the voices in my head and the views and rather lack thereof stop me, but to take a step back at what I'm creating, and that it takes practice and it takes time. And then the last thing, I always like to end on a little positive idea and what your most authentic life looks like. This you can go into as much depth as you want. You can, there's blank pages in here, so you could just go down and talk everything about what is included in your authentic life. You could write down just a couple of words, whatever works for you, however you're feeling right now. Allow space without forcing. When you're journaling, it doesn't always have to make sense. Like, you don't always have to be creating these complete sentences. Sometimes it's good to just put down the first thing that comes to your mind and maybe expand on that, maybe move forward, maybe completely ditch that and start something new. Allow yourself in your journaling process to be free, to be accepting of yourself, to allow what comes up to come out, right? Because this is your space. Maybe you don't have any other place right now that you feel like you could express yourself and be heard and be accepted and be welcomed and not be judged. Allow this to be your place because this is where it all starts. And then you will find yourself welcoming that into the rest of your life. You will find yourself having those hard conversations. You will find yourself knowing who you are better to more authentically show up in the world. So, some of my authentic life looks like easy, free flow, uh, expressing myself with love, standing my ground, recovering people pleaser, taking control of my time and sharing my experience and liberating myself and hopefully showing others that it is safe to liberate as well. These journals are meant to be something quick but wholesome. And maybe this is like your first taste into taking time for yourself. If you feel like you need more, get a blank piece of paper and let it out like word vomit all over the page. And even if you just do that 2 times a month, this is the beginning of your process. Or maybe you're in the midst of your process and this is just adding to what you already do. I love sitting down and journaling with you guys. So thank you so much for joining me. Catch all of my guided meditations on this channel, and I will be back to journal with you around August 16th for the new, the new moon, because this is our full moon. And thank you. Until next time.